I've been out of the loop with Marvel for a while now. I lost interest in it, but I did just see the Born Again trailer, and it looks pretty good. It looks like they're definitely doing Born Again, what with Wilson Fisk being the mayor, but I can't help but feel like this might undo season 3. What do you think?
To Nelson, Murdoch, and Page.
Page, Murdoch, and Nelson.
Hang on a minute.
Take care of yourself, man.
Fisk won't manipulate the system again.
I mean, Fisk Can Fix It is trending hard.
He isn't the real Daredevil, because he is.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Client of mine was shot, Frank. Guess whose logo I found in the bullet case?
What's that got to do with me? This city rejected you.
Speaking to you as mayor of this evening. New era, greatest city in the world.
It beat you. I beat you. Beat you.
So much promise, so much disappointment. I started off this show kind of liking it. It was a huge step down from Netflix in the quality of its presentation, which is strange considering their respective budgets. It felt more like someone trying to copy the original while only half understanding what made the original work. But I was reasonably enjoying the writing. I especially liked the courtroom drama in episode 3, and when I saw the Punisher tattoo in episode 2, I was like, oh, death is coming a-knockin'. Then episode 4. I had heard, despite the general consensus of appreciation surrounding this show, rumblings from the crowd for whom pointing out the problems in storytelling is an endurance sport. If you know them, you know them. But if I'm watching a TV show, which I don't often do, I like to watch the whole thing before I start searching out any opinions on it, especially if I'm enjoying it. I don't mind losing my enjoyment after the fact, and I am very happy to be proven wrong about the quality of a product, whether it affects my ability to enjoy it or not. But I do like to take an entire project as it is before I allow people to tell me what it is or isn't. So I was merrily sitting down each evening to watch each episode. I waited until all my work was done, everything I needed to do, just settle in so I could fully enjoy it, and I started to feel a Mandalorian Season 3 shaped pit in my stomach. Because this show does exactly what that season did, in that, despite Daredevil Born Again being a lot better, it just tears down everything that came before. And while my faith was lost with The Mandalorian in episode 5, my tipping point with this came from, well, those of you who found me through my Punisher content will know from where it came. Look how they massacred my boy. My murderous, built like a brick shithouse baby boy. Now, I don't have a problem with new takes on Frank. But remember, raging Garth Ennis fangirl here, Ennis's Punisher is the Punisher. A monster with a code. A man who is such a natural-born killer that he signed up for one more tour of duty than he should have been allowed to do because he is more comfortable, more at home, more himself, killing enemies on a battlefield than he is at home with his family. But has enough, I'm not going to say conscience, I think honor is the best word. Enough honor to do his duty as a husband and father until that is taken away from him and he has no reason to be anything other than what he is. The death of Frank's family didn't create the Punisher. It simply unleashed it. Now, we all know John Bernthal's Punisher is a little more sensitive, and keep in the forefront of your mind I am using that word very relatively. He is so much more human in this version. A little more vulnerable, a lot more volatile, and a good deal more feeling. Now, I surprised myself by not exactly hating this. I still maintain that Punisher Warzone is the best of the Punisher movies, and because even the things they get wrong and the things that are bad are just so fittingly... Punisher. But Bernthal's portrayal, especially in his Daredevil appearances, seems to blend Frank's menacing, cold, unstoppable nature with a more emotionally vulnerable portrayal of him. The Punisher TV show, while it had some good ideas, just didn't manage to accomplish the same thing. But Bernthal was still a highlight.
I go into a comic book store in Brooklyn, and I go in, and I get a whole stack, and I go up to buy them, and he looks at me and goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." I go, "Okay, cool, man. I just want to buy these comics." He goes, "No, you don't. You're not taking this, you're not taking this, you're not taking this. You need to read this, 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 and this." And I was like, "Okay, dude." And he's like, "Do not mess this up." I'm like, "Got it."
And I would really like to know what exactly that comic book worker recommended him, because if it was anything else, then his appearances in Jerry Conway's Amazing Spider-Man, Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, Punisher War Journal, and the entire Garth Ennis Max run, I would like to have words. But it seems like he did give him some good recommendations, because Bernthal really does seem to get the fundamentals of Frank. But this... well, let's just go through the scene. First off, what has put Frank in a state like this? Like I said, I am willing to make allowances for a more emotionally volatile Punisher, but where we left him, he was simply himself. He had accepted the mantle, stopped trying to be anything else, and was getting on with the good work, shall we say. I know the blip happened, but we don't know whether Frank was snapped or not, and even if he was, that wouldn't change anything. And even if he wasn't, he didn't have anything or anyone to lose, so just why? Did I miss something? Now, I won't fully go through my gripes with the police's fascination with adopting the Punisher symbol, but just to reiterate, this isn't a moral judgment, even though I very much do not align my morals with Frank. But if you know the Punisher, it makes no sense. Soldiers? Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Police?
There's a reason why you separate military and the police. One fights the enemy of the state. The other serves and protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people.
Frank is the consequence of a broken system, not the solution to it. He is a cautionary tale and he knows it. Frank believes wholly in what he is doing, but his view is shape up your act so you don't need guys like me. Yes, he believes the world needs men who are willing to make the hard call, but he doesn't believe any bozo with a gun and an ego should do it. Because, say it with me now, Frank is always right. He always gets the right guy, and again, he knows the second he kills an innocent, he becomes what he is protecting them from, and the next bullet in the gun is for him. Frank is a walking dead man with only his cause and his principles to keep him moving. He doesn't want another like him. Plus, as I said in my Punisher video, the adapter's continuous need to put him in law enforcement is just... stop it! It just ruins the whole psychology and thematic resonance. That is why the Thomas Jane movie is not a great Punisher movie. It's not a bad one, but it's not a particularly good one either. Frank needs to be a soldier. And I know I probably need to explain because I had comments on my other video saying, no, Frank was actually in the Marines in that movie. Yes, he was. But it just served as a reason as to why this cop could kill people like he was a Call of Duty character.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
It had no thematic impact whatsoever. This is a mob versus FBI story. This is not a man forged in the fires of war, coming home, having the only reason to be home taken away from him, and bringing a battlefield mentality to civilian justice. Please just stop making Frank law enforcement. I am begging you. It is not right. It has never been right. It has never made sense. And even though I am a big fan of the Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe comic, making him SWAT in that was not a good idea either. I am a fan of Ennis's work, but he does not win all the time. So I quite liked the inclusion of the Punishers here. So considering my gripes with law enforcement using the Punisher symbol, not moral gripes, just literary and thematic ones, although, full disclosure, moral ones too, I was really interested to see what was going to happen when Matt finally informed Frank that a bunch of dirty cops were using his logo and killing innocents. Suffice to say, I was expecting something more along the lines of, "Be something again." Now, there are good things in this conversation, and I was pretty excited to see it because the snippets we got from the trailer about Matt coming to Frank not for help but for permission was really good. I have always maintained that Matt and Frank are incredibly similar. They are both strong-willed and strong-principled men who live their lives by a strict moral code and desire to protect those who can't protect themselves, though Frank is a much darker version of that. He is a natural-born killer who knows he's a natural-born killer but has enough of a conscience, honor, and morals to direct his rage towards people he can live with killing. But what makes them similar the most is that rage. There are people in this world who are natural-born fighters. Many need to have the instinct to fight trained into them. Some people have fight as a reactive instinct, but then there are people for whom fighting is as natural as breathing. People who just have the urge to stand up and hit something.
Maybe it isn't only about justice, Matt. Maybe it's about you having an excuse to hit someone. Maybe you just can't stop yourself.
I don't want to stop.
Let's go home.
Matt may be someone who believes in justice and non-lethality, but the reason his guilt eats at him so much is because he is a natural fighter. He wants something to fight, and that subconscious instinct clashes with his conscious morals, both legal and spiritual. He doesn't just react, he goes looking for something to punch, just like Frank. What separates them is the lines they've drawn for themselves, the morals they've chosen to live by. So I really like the idea of Matt being pushed to the brink of breaking a rule set for him both by his profession and his faith most of all, and seeking out Frank, because however much his conscience tells him it would be wrong, he wants something to silence it, and it makes sense that he thinks, Frank, if anyone is gonna tell me it's okay, if anyone is going to agree that they deserve to die, it's Frank. But no, Frank isn't going to make it that easy for him, because he knows better than anyone the difference being a killer makes to a man.
You're right, my way isn't working. So maybe just this once.
Just this once. No. Read this. That's not how it works. You cross over to my side of the line. You don't get to come back from that.
So I get Frank's speech about how the guilt will keep eating at Matt because he hasn't done anything about Foggy's killer or the many others out there. The system is failing, and Frank's belief is the consequence is men like him and Matt.
Goddamn sick. You and your goddamn system.
Now, I have always loved Frank and Matt's dynamic in the comics because of what they reveal about each other. Two very similar men who have chosen very different paths, who each want justice but have very different ideas about what it looks like. This gives the comics so much room for philosophizing about morality. But their relationship is a little different in the comics, and I believe it is mostly down to the fact that in the comics, Frank is a decent chunk older than Matt. Frank is an old, grizzled badass, and while his age is a little nebulous, it tends to bounce around. He served in Vietnam, so he is at best pushing 50, and Matt is barely 30. So the way they interact, and in particular the way Frank interacts with Matt, is very different. He seems to see him as the wide-eyed, idealistic kid that he kind of is. And that probably also explains Frank's patience with him, despite the constant getting in his way. Because as I said in my previous video, one thing that I really like about Frank, and that I think a lot of people get wrong about him, is he is not a nihilist. He believes in good and he likes good people. Another reason why I think the murder of a man who, by Frank's moral code, is also a good person, under his banner, would have made Frank a decent chunk more pissed than we actually saw him. Frank believes in what he is doing. That doesn't mean he wants everyone to do it. One, because not everybody can be right all the time like he is, and two, because he believes the world also needs good people. It needs innocence, but it also needs people to protect the innocents. If everyone started doing what he did, there would be no innocence. But I think in recent years, they've kinda made them closer in age, and the show, despite Frank probably being the older of the two men, they are very much closer to peers. So this does have an effect on their relationship. But still, despite this conversation touching on a very few important things about Matt's character, things that Frank is the person best placed to point out, it really just fell flat for me. Mostly, again, because of Frank's massive underreaction to something that would definitely trigger his moral outrage. So in conclusion, I know we've still got a few more episodes with Frank to come, and I am not giving up on this show like I did with Mandalorian Season 3 come Episode 5, but I will be a lot more cautious with my optimism. I don't know if I will make any more videos on this show. They will have to really screw up for me to have anything more interesting to say about it. So for now, I will just give an unenthusiastic welcome back, Frank.